We live in a broken country, one that refuses any kind of actual progress be made. Attempts or suggestions of demonstrably effective legislation adopted by similar countries are debated, ridiculed, and ultimately avoided. So here we are again, living an American nightmare where the population is constantly on edge due to economic stress, poisoned resources, and the constant fear that your loved ones can be taken from you at any point in time at the whims of a monster with access to weapons that allow them to rapidly destroy anything in their path. In schools where teachers have to emotionally navigate each day wondering if they could lose their jobs because they said the wrong words, or lose their lives because someone decided to target their classroom, while around them, discussions take place that don't focus on the weapons themselves, but on whether or not the faculty should be armed, or reinforce their classroom doors and windows, or distribute bulletproof backpacks to their students.
We try to have fun on this show. We're not trying to bring everyone down during a time that is already undoubtedly hard for a multitude of reasons, including the news out of Nashville, Tennessee. We try to bring you the news in a way that is informative and funny, pointing out the, inconsistencies, the irony, the absurdity of it all. Today's episode was originally filled with topics, some serious, some inconsequential. I mean, Kanye West, this would have been front page news for us. He apparently watched 21 Jump Street for the first time this weekend, and was so blown away by Jonah Hill's role in the film, his performance, that he apparently had a change of heart regarding Jewish people. The people he just blew his entire career over hatred of.
Yeah, for months.
All it took was one, fairly decent, circa 2012 comedy film.
Yeah. Wish you could have seen it months ago.
We need to send 21 Jump Street to every neo-Nazi organization in the world. World peace.
Solved.
So I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how he got to, I changed my mind about Jewish people from watching a movie from 11 years ago. But hey, we'll take it. He got there. He literally posted, watching Jonah Hill in 21 Jump Street made me like Jewish people again. Okay, Kanye.
I mean, there was also a good 24 hours or so where everyone online was convinced that Pope Francis was a new fashion icon who'd commissioned a custom, all-white Balenciaga puffer jacket, then wore it as he casually strolled around in public, as, the Pope does.
I mean, it did look like something the Pope would do. The Pope, this one, but especially the last one, very into the fashion.
Yeah, somewhat believable. So the story, it's kind of heartwarming, the background of this. So we should at least give a little backstory on that. Yes, the photo was made by AI, but the person who perfected the prompts was using Midjourney as a distraction from a family member passing away late last year. Pablo, a 31-year-old construction worker from Chicago, got into creating AI art after his brother passed away. Then, last week, he got high on shrooms and thought it would be really funny if the Pope wore a giant puffy designer jacket. And yeah, it was funny, though he seems to slightly regret the creation because so many people were convinced that it was real, and he felt as though he had deceived everyone, no matter how unintentionally.
Well, at least he feels, at least he feels something about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was some sort of good news over the weekend that only exists because of hilarious irony. The state of Wyoming was set to outlaw abortion and make it a felony to perform, but that law was blocked from going into effect, at least temporarily, because of an amendment in the state which was originally introduced as a way to curtail the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. So over a decade ago, the state voted to reduce the effectiveness of the ACA by adding an amendment that granted residents the right to make their own health care decisions. Since banning abortion would also violate that amendment, a judge has now blocked the anti-abortion legislation from becoming law. It be your own damn selves sometimes. They were so scared of Obamacare that they voted themselves into a corner on abortion access, which is funny, but also speaks to a larger, much more serious issue spreading throughout the country.
Yeah, also over the weekend, Trump started posting a poll that was orchestrated by Twitter user Turd as if it were some reputable and definitive survey of American voters. I mean, he literally posted an image of the results of a Twitter poll by someone with the username Turd and added, "New poll just out." He doubled down on these poll numbers with what appeared to be an official campaign graphics package, and by touting these numbers at a rally in Texas over the weekend. I mean, that's one of the most ridiculous and honestly funny things to happen within a campaign that could have serious ramifications on the future of an already damaged country. And there was no shortage of insanity from that rally in Waco, Texas, and the clips of it will make your jaw drop. I mean, let's just wheel the TV in here and there's a long compilation of these clips. I'm going to cut it down a bit because it's a rough day, but here's just a few examples.
I didn't authorize any money to Ukraine to some homosexual weirdo.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and place your hand over your heart for the #1 song on iTunes, Amazon, and the Billboard charts. Justice for All, featuring President Donald J. Trump and the J6 Choir. They've got nothing. They've got nothing. Think of it. 11 million pages. And my tax returns on top of it, and they're a big return. It probably makes me the most innocent man in the history of our country. Friends of mine say that. The Department of Injustice in Washington, D.C. was investigating me for something that is not a crime, not a misdemeanor, not an affair. I never liked horseface. It's just not. It's a terrible thing. That wouldn't be the one. Nobody laughed at our country when I ran it, I can tell you that. President Xi, smart, top of his game. President Putin, smart. Very smart people. Baby bonuses, so many people like that for the new baby boom that will be coming. We need babies.
I'm a proud digital soldier, Proxmanian, and January 6, 2021, inmate number 3763.
I am a South African MAGA preacher.
No, do you live in South Africa now?
I'm living in America because God actually told me that there's a revival coming to America, and in the dream that I had, President Trump was in it. So,
I mean, yeah, it's funny because it's so outrageous, but it's also scary because they're trying to retake full control of the country, and they have a very specific plan for what this country will look like if that does happen.
They're telling you what they want. If it's what you don't want, well,
yeah,
act accordingly, because these people, they vote.
They do.
Then there was another damning indictment of our healthcare system. A report utilizing internal documents exposed how one of the country's largest health insurance companies, Cigna, had staff who would deny insurance claims for patients without even reviewing them. The company, Cigna, has built a system that allows its doctors to instantly reject a claim on medical grounds without opening the patient file, leaving people with unexpected bills, according to corporate documents and interviews with former Cigna officials. Over a period of 2 months last year, Cigna doctors denied over 300,000 requests for payments using this method, spending an average of 1.2 seconds on each case, the documents show. Medical directors do not see any patient records or put their medical judgment to use, said former company employees familiar with the system. Instead, a computer does the work. A Cigna algorithm flags mismatches between diagnoses and what the company considers acceptable tests and procedures for those ailments. Company doctors then sign off on the denials in batches, according to interviews with former employees who spoke on condition of anonymity. We literally click and submit, one former Cigna doctor said. It takes all of 10 seconds to do 50 at a time. So yeah, if you've ever gotten, tests or whatever that seemed 100% fucking relevant to your healthcare and then had them denied, which is something that happened to me like fairly recently, that's why. They're not even looking. They're banking on you going through the long and tedious process of disputing the rejection and hoping,
well, if you want it, you'll really fight for it.
And hoping that enough people just give up.
Exactly.
And that they can make a little bit more money on it.
If only there was a simpler way to where you didn't have to fight for certain things like this. Anyways, there was other stuff. There was goofier, less consequential stuff that we wanted to cover today, but like many of you, we were unfortunately consumed by the news of yet another school shooting in this country. One where children as young as 9 were killed by a piece of shit with easy access to guns. And we typically don't cover this type of stuff because it's horrific, it's nightmarish, and unfortunately, all too common here. The country does what it always does. Thoughts and prayers, the same arguments online, no real change. Next shooting happens, a new movie comes out, there's a sports championship. Everyone who wasn't directly affected forgets, not because we're all bad people, but because we've developed a barrier to deal with the repeated emotional trauma. But like with Sandy Hook, there's just something so disgustingly evil about targeting what was basically an elementary school. You guys know we don't have kids. I have 2 young nieces, though, and I also have friends that I'm close enough with that their kids refer to me as their uncle. I constantly refuse to attack or mock people's kids on this show, and I have a big soft spot for them. So I can't help but feel absolutely gutted by what we allow to go on in this country. It's hard not to feel hopeless and assume that nothing will change. And I also have to say, like, I do have nieces and really close friends, but I can't imagine what it must be like to be a parent here.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having that fear every single day of your life just by sending your kids to a school. It's insane. But yeah, it is hard to not feel hopeless, or not to feel hopeless and assume that nothing will change, because we've lived through tragedies like this so many times. Sandy Hook should have been a wake-up call, but nothing changed. But I think what upsets me the most with this one in particular was the live reactions of people both in the media and online as they shoved their way in to explain why it happened, what could have prevented it, how this was different, and seemingly frothing at the mouth once the information was revealed that the shooter was trans. The event immediately became secondary to the discourse, despite this shooting being only the most recent in a disgustingly long and ever-growing list of school shootings.
Yeah, so within about 2 hours, the conversation online and in the media diverted away from the fact that kids were fucking murdered in a school to, okay, well, maybe we should have armed guards, or maybe we should be reinforcing doors. And then quickly got past that to, why was the door even open? Which turned out to be not true. Okay, so let's talk about something else. Oh, here we go. The shooter was trans. Boom. Bingo. Discourse, engage. Now you also have a social media network where the worst people in the world all pay a fee so they can get the highest possible amount of visibility. Those people all spewing some of the worst shit we've ever seen, and the richest guy in the world replying to threads containing factually incorrect information and signal boosting it. It's predictable and sad that this will be used to vilify all LGBTQ people, and there are already tweets sent with an implied smirk that correctly use the shooter's pronouns, because of course, now is when right-wing shitheads want to show that they can use correct pronouns. It is legitimately unsettling how excited people online seem to be about the identity of this shooter, when everyone who actually cares about our nightmare reality has been screaming for gun control for decades now. And it was pointed out, I believe Juniper, great poster, also trans, was like, yeah, this is, we're doing what we did in the early 2000s, where every time a Muslim was involved in any of these events, like, it just became about that. We're doing that now for trans people.
Yeah.
This is now the entire story is about the shooter being trans instead of any other factors that might have contributed to this.
I don't even want to show the image because it's heartbreaking, but it's hard to not look away from the news. It's a balance we kind of have to walk, but there's a heartbreaking image of a girl crying on a school bus that was taken as she was leaving the school. And all of that, the serious things that happened is online, is gone. And now it's just a bunch of people arguing, people who feel justified or people who feel victimized, screaming at each other.
Also, this is like, I mean, the last several school shootings, immediately, these right-wing cranks, before the shooters were identified, got hoaxes going about the shooter being trans.
Yes.
This has been something they've been like, just salivating to finally happen for real for so long, and they're taking a fucking victory lap over it. It's
even
disgusting.
This one, minutes after this one happened, there was a doctored image of that repeated character.
Sam Hyde, yeah.
Yeah, but with a wig on.
Yeah, it was like AI girl Sam Hyde, yeah.
But
Stop falling for that shit, you fucking idiots.
What this person did is reprehensible. It's disgusting and it's evil, just like every other school shooter that we've had to see near constant headlines about through our entire lives is also a reprehensible piece of shit. It's sickening that the American flag is constantly at half-mast.
Yeah, they should just leave it there permanently.
Yeah, they might as well. It rarely goes back up.
All this effort, raising, lowering, forget about it.
There have been nearly 400 school shootings since Columbine. It's painfully obvious that there is something broken with our country, and weaponizing the outrage following an attack isn't going to repair systemic issues that have been broken since the beginning. We're a country where basic human needs are financially inaccessible. There's also little to no access to mental health care, and instead, we have outrageously easy access to high-powered weapons. Seems like something's wrong. Kids shouldn't have to fear for their lives to attend a school, to be taught by teachers who fear for their lives and their jobs. This person, like other shooters, was a piece of shit. No one with any humanity could take another life, let alone the lives of children. It's obviously inexcusable, but it's also sickening that the discourse you see online and in the media feels like a bunch of people eager to exclaim, "Ah! Aha, well, well, well!" And that's all despite this happening so often that we've unfortunately become numb to it. Kids are dead. Please shut the fuck up.
So yeah, sorry for this weird little episode. We know it's not exactly the type of show that you're used to. We have hundreds of other episodes on this channel that are going to pop up on the sidebar, or 2 recent episodes are going to pop up pretty soon over there. We would recommend, finding a distraction from this hell world by watching something happier. Maybe go outside, touch grass, go on a walk or a hike, get the blood moving. Maybe
Look up at the stars at night.
At those stars.
Unironically, please take this time to not exactly go out and rub your hands on the grass, but touch grass.
Touch grass.
Separate yourself a little bit from what's happening.
It's an insult that also, pretty valid. We should all be touching more grass, I'd say.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll be back in a few days to talk about something else. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. No sponsor today, thank God. No requests from us. Don't even need to, don't hit the like button. I mean, you can't. But yeah, just take care of yourselves.
Yeah, please. We'll see you soon. Again, take care of yourselves.
Bye.